but we can't get those things on our own. Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio.
Arriba! Yes, that is actually the First Lady of the United States comparing Latin people to be as unique as breakfast tacos. I'm just disappointed she didn't say Latinx. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have some crazy news to get into today. As things in Sri Lanka are only getting a lot more crazier, as now we are finally seeing the receipts to what caused this chaos, a learning lesson for the world, as the same people who destroyed Sri Lanka want to control every aspect of your life. What's going on here? How is the World Economic Forum, the ESG score involved here? Well, we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more. But before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was done by Donaldo Trumpo, who in his Twitter bio reads specifically, "Me look like El Presidento, but me know him, Senor Twitter Jacko and his no-hug Twitter Ninos, a mucho different with glorioso mustachio. Please no ban me again." If you want to follow Donaldo Trumpo, you can on Twitter under the username @PapiTrumpo. And yes, that was an actual real statement made by the First Lady of the United States. As of course, she's campaigning, as of course the Democratic Party is having a huge Latino problem, as demographically more and more Latinos are becoming more conservative by the day. The Biden administration's response to all of this is to create the term Latinx and to compare them to breakfast tacos. Yeah, fair to say that the Latino vote is definitely not in their corner in these upcoming elections. This, as of course, you're dealing with the failed administration with many broken promises that has prioritized the Build Back Better Great Reset agenda over everything else. This, as they claimed, to bring decency back, and what they really brought back was more seedy, corruptive, corporate, lobbyist-controlled nastiness. In related nastiness news, today we're also finding out, according to the Daily Mail, that Hunter Biden used one of his companies to pay tens of thousands of dollars to Ukrainian and Russian women of the night in many suspicious transactions that have been flagged by his own banking institution, JP Morgan & Chase. The checks were written for, quote, medical services, as of course these ladies were paid for a, quote, girlfriend experience, as some legal experts are now butting in and saying that Hunter Biden should be charged not only for fraud, not only for clear illegal drug use, not only for lying under federal forms, not only a slurry of other huge violations of the laws that he committed, but also because, according to this latest information from the Daily Mail, he transported working women of the night from Boston to New York, which could be a federal offense. Will he be charged for this crime? Most likely not. He's the son of the President of the United States. He has special privileges. The laws don't apply to him. The laws only apply to the plebs. If you're a politician's son, you not only get to live above the law, you also get $83,000 per month from national gas companies like Burisma in Ukraine, which now the Biden administration is repaying the favor to by announcing an additional $1.7 billion in aid today to Ukraine. Where is that money going to? Whose hands is it going into? Where is it exactly being spent? Well, who in the world knows, as of course the United States even agreed themselves that a lot of the times they have no idea where a lot of their support is going to when it goes to the country of Ukraine. Something that, of course, I think we should figure out, especially before sending more money there. But that's just my 2 cents there. This, as today, the Biden administration is considering sending more lethal weapons to Saudi Arabia. Something, of course, that is previously banned, but now they're probably using this as a ploy to try to get limit Saudi Arabia to produce more oil on the world market and not to be swayed by other foreign competitors like China. And with the way things are going geopolitically, I think it's only a matter of time until the United States directly helps out Saudi Arabia just like they did before. This as the United States still is officially a part of the Saudi-led coalition in bombing the crap out of Yemen and creating the worst humanitarian crisis on the face of the earth right now. The United States has done this for many years. They are officially fighting on the side of Al-Qaeda, this according to the Associated Press and their reporting on the situation there, while of course mainly going after the Houthi Iranian-backed rebels in another proxy conflict. This as the Biden administration is now falsely claiming that U.S. troops aren't engaged in any combat in the Middle East, when of course we know that to be an outright flat lie. This as U.S. troops are currently stationed in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. They are providing support for the Saudi-led coalition against that country. This as the United States still routinely launches drones and military raids all throughout the Middle East. And yet again, we have another outright lie by this administration. What else are they lying to you about? What else is a lie in our society? Well, almost everything, which we discuss in great detail on LukeUncensored.com, our very own platform, where today we are going to be doing yet another video right after this one with the latest topics of the unhinged, crazy statements being made by the World Health Organization and medical institutions here in the United States that are literally trying to restart the lunacy that the world was entangled in 2.5 years ago. There's also a crazy video from Mark Zuckerberg that has been alleged to have been leaked. We're going to be talking about that, plus Novak Djokovic, all on our website, our platform, where we get to say and do whatever we want. We get to talk about whatever topics we want, however we want, and I hope you will get to see an unfiltered video version of this broadcast all later on today on LukeUncensored.com. By the way, when you sign in, you get a plethora of options available to you. You get a description of what's going on here, as well as 3 master classes, which you could take yourself. All the videos here categorized in specific topics that will help you navigate the 8 years of content that we have available for you. We also have a forum that we're getting actively engaged in, as we just launched our beta version of a shopping survival guide, which people could give comments and feedback on before we make official for, of course, the members of LukeUncensored.com. The forum is active. People are being engaged there. I'm going to be doing an AMA with this broadcast, and I look forward towards working with you more exclusively one-on-one on LukeUncensored.com. See you there right after this particular broadcast. Click the link down in the description below to find out more. Now, if you remember, just a few days ago, we talked about the global uprising that, of course, has been fomenting in Sri Lanka because of the political corruption and economic chaos that has been created in that particular country. But now I think it's worth expanding on that corruption that we quickly talked about, because I think it's important to understand, especially when it comes to quantifying what just happened in that country and what is headed our way here in the developed Western world, where the same people that created the chaos in Sri Lanka are trying to set up a policy here in the United States and the rest of the Western world. Now, currently in Sri Lanka, the latest news we're finding out is that the president of that country has been blocked by airport staff from fleeing the country. This as protesters broke into his home and have posted videos of themselves enjoying the huge pools, the master mansions, and the luxury cars that the president was able to afford himself and expense for the people that had to deal with government corruption. 14 of his family members were also blocked from leaving the country by airport staff, and it looks like the people there will be picking up the pieces of the failed state and selecting a new president while creating a totally new government. Again, the chaos is persisting in that bankrupted country, as it, of course, is not just facing a political collapse, but also a total economic one. Why is this happening? Well, Michael Schellenberger has some very interesting perspective on this, as he just wrote an article titled, quote, "Green Dogma Behind Fall of Sri Lanka," and he brought up some very interesting points that a lot of people have been talking about when it comes to the collapse of this country. This as the corrupted politicians in that country have put forward policies that created inflation that's been recorded over 15%, food prices to jump as high as 80%, as millions of people in that country are struggling to purchase food, medicine, and fuel. But Sri Lanka did have an ESG score of 98%. 100%. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. According to the corporate globalists, they have ranked Sri Lanka as the country that was scoring the highest in, quote, environmental, social, and governance criteria, praising them, cheering them on, and implementing the policies that they promised. If Sri Lanka implemented, they would, of course, have more investment from the globalists if they just implemented those policies. They implemented a lot of policies. The World Economic Forum even praised the country, talking about how they're going to be rich by the year 2025 in an article that they released in August of 2018, specifically detailing how the Sri Lankan Prime Minister planned on making the country rich by implementing a stringent ESG score and following all the policies of the corporate globalists that promised that they would invest in him if he just followed their orders. He did, and now the World Economic Forum has actually deleted their article, and this meme perfectly represents the current situation there, with the depiction of Klaus Schwab saying Sri Lanka was the beta test. And they have implemented a lot of woke ESG score policies, like banning fertilizer, all in the name of helping the environment, which absolutely decimated their crops. This being one of many policies that the country instituted there that has led to its collapse, a collapse which I would say was deliberate, as of course the government lockdowns during the last 2.5 years didn't help this current situation. China's investment with their Belt and Road infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka didn't help them. The foreign debt that country incurred throughout all of this did not help them. But this fertilizer ban has absolutely destroyed many of the farms in that country, which made food prices go up dramatically, which of course only impoverished the poorer people in the world. Farmers reported 60 to 50% reductions in crop harvest, and these are the same similar policies that of course many other central controllers and globalists want to implement all over the world, more prominently recently in the Netherlands, where the country there is trying to block, quote, nitrogen emissions by, of course, shutting down farms. This, as the Netherlands is the second largest food exporter in the world, and limiting their ability of farmers to produce food on the world market, especially with expected food shortages, makes it more clearer than ever that a lot of this is being done deliberately. In California, the cities there banned new gas stations because of their battle for, quote, climate change, and these regulations and these rules and these over-the-top central controllers and planners. The people who live in little box cities are lecturing farmers about who is taking better care of the environment, and that to me is absolutely insane. These policies are, of course, being pushed on by the World Economic Forum that has time and time again called for the restriction, the regulation, and the tightening of farmers being able to farm, which, of course, would limit the food supply for the world. NPR and other media establishment figures have, of course, been regurgitating their plans for what equates to global chaos without even questioning it, as, of course, the UN is also another globalist institution along with the World Economic Forum that has been pushing for a higher cost of living in order to squeeze out the poor people, the middle class people, and any kind of competition from essentially their world dominance. And that is not an overestimated statement. How else do you explain their almost deliberate destruction of the energy supply, of the food supply, and of the ability of human beings being able to survive, especially the poorest amongst us? There's no other explanation, as their policies are a direct result of collapse and chaos. For them to think that they're not knowing what they're doing here is absolutely a larger misnomer, and you're giving them way too much credit for already the devastation that they have caused. The World Economic Forum is literally arguing for higher gas prices. The Biden administration has called higher gas prices a transition that is needed to happen. We are seeing the equivalent of lockdowns now being replicated and redone through financial and political pressures. Now, except for fighting a sickness, we're fighting the environment, which to me is just as lunatic of an idea, that we need to get out there to the general public and explain to them that we are being led down a very dangerous road, that if very powerful people have their way with us, will create tremendous amounts of human suffering. That's my perspective. That's my own personal opinion. If you thought I was wrong, Let me know why down in the comment section below. But this is the true reality of what we're dealing with from my perspective, from everything I've seen, from everything I've been researching for over 15 past years since I've been sitting here doing videos for you. And man, oh man, is that getting very serious as of late. If you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. And because you do, you're able to get these larger messages out there. Even if it's not just sharing these videos, share an article, start a conversation. Getting involved, getting activated, getting engaged, and starting locally is one of the most important things that you could do as of right now, as of hearing this important message. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. One more video coming your way, continuing this conversation on LukeUncensored.com. And this is why, and the many reasons I love you guys, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.